The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shea's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shea's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shea's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real. Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Shea's Paranormal Chat. We are testing some new waters here, and we are hoping you can hear us. And I'm going to pretend you can hear us for a minute because Spreaker, Skype, they all hate me as usual. And I am signing into Spreaker as we talk, as you can hear my phone. And I'll be able to tell in 20 seconds, which is probably 40, 50 seconds for you guys, if I can hear you, because it's been quite fun. So tonight, as last week, we also have Miss Kelly McCarville, who I love to death. Yes. Big props to Kelly. And also, another big crush of mine, we have Luna. Yay, Luna.
Yay, we love Luna.
We do, don't we?
We do.
I mean, somewhere along the lines, Luna would be on the show. Oh, I think I'm there. Oh, yay. I said ho, I meant hi. But, Skype updated a couple weeks ago, and it's given me nothing but problem since. And I'm not the only one. I'm tech dumb, but some very smart people have been like, hey, not just you. Skype is just being dumb.
Yeah, and it worked for Shea last week, and this week it just totally bombed out on me. It won't do anything. So
yeah, it took a while.
That was totally my fault.
So keep it on that side of the pool. That's all I'm saying.
Anybody who knows me, though, would not be surprised by the fact that I was late.
But for once you weren't. Like, we were on time. We just weren't on time because of other issues. But we tried on time.
We started way early.
Yeah, we did. That's why I said, you're like, wait, what, 7:40? And I'm like, because, example, last week, and good thing we started, and I was even late. Instead of 7:40 Eastern, I tried 7:45 Eastern, and look what happened. So, let's, as long as nobody hung up on me.
Nope, I'm here.
All right. You guys are quiet. I'm like, the three of us quiet is kind of scary. Like,
this little, I'm like in the middle of a zone or something. I'm just staring at the screen, hoping that nothing cuts out. And it's perfect.
Yeah. I can see you again. You like, it shows you and then it does it. Hi. I'm waving. You can't see me. I'm going to do some shout. I know. I'm going to do some shout outs before we get into the show. In case anybody's wondering, we have the one and only Luna Nocturnal. I can't, there's no words to describe Luna. Luna is awesome.
Oh, that's kind of scary. No words.
I have no words because, trust me, if it was a bad thing, I would have words.
I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't doubt that.
So let's give some shout outs for some people in the chat. We have Miss Sue Pashusta, of course, from Short Bus Paranormal. We have Wolf. We have Kelly McCarville. Sounds familiar to me. We have Miss Kim Purvis. We have Jen B. Alita. Hey, Alita. Alita's going to be on next week again. So I'm looking forward to that. Short Bus Paranormal. They're on quite a bit, and they're going to keep being on as long as they can stand me. Whether it's a show or The Skeptic and the Psychic. I love them too. Let's see. Who else do we have? I can only scroll back so far. So if I missed you, I am very sorry. I'll give you a shout out at the end. But so where do we? Oh, I see Luna. Luna's saying hi. Oh, see, she's so sweet. Even though she's waving to me in person, she's saying hi in chat to me. Oh wait, it says Sue. See, wait, I'll put my glasses back on.
Old eyes.
See, we can pretend. Luna, you fascinate me. You've known that for what, a year and a half at least now, I think is when we started talking.
I think so.
Yeah, I was co-hosting last summer of 2016 when I started co-hosting on Introspection, so at least then.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Way back. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, though.
No, it goes by so fast.
If you would have said, a couple months ago, I would have been like, yeah.
Yeah. But it's been a while. Hold on, I'm trying to turn down I'm getting notifications for some reason. It's the other love of my life.
That might be because I messaged you.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
I put in my headphones.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you. Mama Pat is in the house. Hello, Mama Pat. Love you. Kisses and hugs.
That's Kelly's mom?
Yes.
That is my mommy.
I assume that's what I call her. I hope it's her mom.
She's kind of been adopted at this point, so she's everybody's mom, which happens a lot with her.
That's good. That's a good thing to have, a group mom.
I'm happy to share her.
It is.
You're very
she ought to have some daughters she likes after all.
Hey, we can switch. My mom might like you better than me, so.
I'm kidding. My mama's my best friend, so.
That's so
obviously.
Cool.
Yes, because you and your mom do quite a bit together. It's very impressive.
We do.
Yeah.
That's so cool. My mom, if I would have said, Mom, no, I'm going to be on a podcast. A pod what? A what?
My mother said that too, but my mother is not in chat. But every time you see my sister Nicole in chat, my mother is in the background listening. She's just not in chat. So, props to my mother too. I joke, but my mother actually goes on investigations with us. So I make a lot of jokes. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
And Kim is also saying, Pat, can we make the whole show about Pat? Because Kim's also saying, Pat is such a great lady. She deserves her props. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. We'll focus, Luna. Kind of, sort of. We're all a little scattery tonight. This should be a fun show.
She knew what she was in
I like
for.
it. That came with the territory, don't you know? That comes with me.
Yeah.
Chaos ensues.
Well, Luna,
it was doomed to be a show.
I think Luna and I have been on 2 or 3 other shows together, or 2 shows together, and I co-hosted a show she was on. So this is nothing new for her. She's like, yeah, it's Shea. We go with it. We're just going to go with it.
It's all good.
Yeah. Now move on. Oh, now move on. Mama Pat is saying now move on. So we have to listen to Mama. So, Miss Luna.
Yes.
You are a psychic medium, correct?
That is correct.
You also have an interesting background. You also have a background in science, correct?
That is correct as well.
Would you like to share with the audience that on top of being a psychic medium, what your background is?
I am a biologist and a chemist.
I love it. I did not know that.
Yeah. So science came first and mediumship and all that stuff came later. And then the two kind of fought for a really long time. And then eventually they all worked themselves out nice and neat. But, yeah. So I'm a very open-minded person with a really, really active bullshit-o-meter. That's for sure.
That is why we love you.
I understand this.
Yeah.
I understand this wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm not a scientist. Not at all. Not a scientist. But I get the whole right-left brain thing because during the day my muggle job is an accountant. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a muggle job anymore, so I haven't had one since I had kids. So since I had kids, no. So I'm not like, I'm a little out of touch. I mean, I'm really interested in science still. I read a lot, but I don't do a lot with it now like I used to. In a different way, I guess I do. It just molded my brain into the way I think and the way I teach my kids and everything else. So they're pretty science-minded too.
But I think when you're able to take that science and blend it well with the psychic medium, I mean, they go hand in hand sometimes. So you just have to be open to think in both ways. Yeah.
Right. With spirituality was what made it perfect for me. If I didn't study spirituality, like I go to a church and everything about natural law and how all that relates together, it all fits together in a nice, perfect little package.
Yeah.
But some people out there might be listening and say, how does the scientist in you and the medium you, how does it fit together? Do you know how, or does it just work?
No, they just kind of coexist together. It just works for me. I mean, initially, when I first was training to be a medium, it's funny. So I was taking these classes at this church, and this is how I started the training. I mean, I was in classes. I don't even want to say it's classes. It was almost like a group circle that I was in forever. And when I started out, you'd hear, Kelly, when you get messages in spirit, do you just hear it in your head? Like, I don't mean verbally, like, do you just get a thought in your head and you know that it's from spirit?
Yep. Yeah. I don't hear anything with my ears. It's always like it's a thought in my head, but try to explain to somebody how it feels different. This thought feels different, so I know it's coming from a spirit.
Right, that's what I was trying to say. It's like you don't hear it, but you think it, kind of a thing. Yep. So when I started getting that, I'm like, well, how did I know that isn't just something that I picked up on a TV show an hour before I got here, or something I heard subconsciously in a conversation, a car away with the windows open. That's where the science always came in, where initially at the very beginning, because I doubted everything. I wanted to believe so badly, but I doubted so much of it.
Before we go on, between the two of you, you might be able to explain to the non-mediums like myself and others listening. There's different classifications of how mediums, psychics hear things. And I know, like clairdense. So when you don't audibly hear it, but when it's a thought, what is that word called?
There's a couple different. I mean, there's clairsentience and claircognizance.
That's cognizance. That's what I was thinking.
Claircognizance is just the sense of knowing.
Because there's like at least 5 different classes of one's just knowing, one's seeing, one's hearing, one's smelling, correct?
Clairvoyance is seeing, clairaudience is hearing, claircognizance is knowing. I can't ever remember what the
There's
smell
so
one
many.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm missing one too. So you both just have the clear cognizance. How do you say that word? Sorry.
Cognizance.
Yes. Do either of you have any of the others? Do you ever see anything? Do you ever audible hear anything? Or is it just, you just know?
I have heard things and I do see things. But once again, it's in your mind's eye. I mean, like, honestly, if I had a spectral,
it's not like a
some sort
disembodied
of spectral
voice.
thing, right? I mean, I have had that happen a couple times where I was in one room in a place where I knew nobody else was in there, and I heard coughing upstairs. And you go upstairs, and there's nobody there.
Right.
So
and I think that, I mean, for me at least, when I wonder, I'm fascinated because you sound a whole lot like me, so I want to ask you a million questions. For me, I mean, I think that we still are going to hear things and see things like anybody can, whether they've brushed up their abilities or not. So yeah, we're going to have those times that we can see and hear things, but when you see like a vision that a spirit's sharing with you, or actually the spirit that's talking to you, is it like you're picturing them in your head like you would your best friend?
Yes, that's actually what I was just going to say, too. It's like my mind's eye. So I can have, a complete and total mindful conversation with somebody or something else. I can see them, I can talk to them, they can talk back to me, but it's all in my head. So that is, you see where the science comes in, and I'm like, how do I know that I'm just not going crazy? You know what I mean? Are people talking back to me? Am I hearing voices, or what is it now?
Because you shouldn't be able to describe the facial features of someone that you're talking to if there's not something to this.
Exactly. Yes, that's whenever I did a lot of like podium work and a lot of gallery readings, we always were. The main thing that was always pushed on us as students was identifiers. Anything that you can identify to that person across the room, I'm giving a message to somebody, and I had better know. It was pretty strict when I was learning. Who are you talking to? What do they look like? What does their hair look like? How do they talk? What do their teeth look like? I mean, they went through everything. They wanted you to give out as much detail as you possibly could give for one individual gallery reading.
And it's always so funny when they give you the question. So you can see them? No. Well, how do you know what they look like? Because I can see them in my head. So you can see them. No,
yeah.
I can see them in my head.
Do you physically see them? Do you physically see them, or do you feel what they look like? I have so many questions because obviously I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium, but I have, can you actually physically see them in your mind as if you were dreaming of them, or is it more of a you feel what they look like? Because I understand both sides of that question.
Kelly and I seem to be on the same page as far as our abilities and what we see and what we hear all being in our head. So I guess, I mean, if I close my eyes and I think about it, yes, then I'll be able to see somebody, but I'm not saying, okay, I'm getting in my head that you have red hair, but I don't see the red hair, It's more of, how can I explain this?
If you close your eyes right now, can you picture your daughter?
That's what I'm saying. Is it a memory? Is it more of like if you remember somebody, or is it a feeling? Because I can do both.
It feels like a memory, but we're remembering somebody that we've never met.
That's
it's not
exactly.
a memory.
That's exactly it. My son used to tell me, Mom, I don't know what this is. I think he's got some abilities. I don't know what this is. This is like a false memory or something. That's what he called it the one day. And I said, oh my God, that's genius. A false memory is exactly what you're talking about.
I am always, because again, I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium. So I want like all these details that I understand you guys can't give them because it's hard to put into words, but I'm always like, Okay, so you see it in your head, you see it in your mind's eye, but is it like a visual picture? Is it a feeling where you can fill in the blanks of, if it's just a feeling, but you feel they have red hair, they have brown eyes. I'm describing myself somehow, but like, it's so fascinating to me that, because you're right, either way, whether you physically see them in your mind's eye or it's a feeling in your mind's eye and you're describing them. But everybody works differently, so it's so fascinating to me.
Luna, do you find sometimes it goes both ways, where sometimes I'll see the person first in my head and then I'm describing them, and other times I know what they look like, and as I'm describing them, the picture forms?
You know, boy, now I'm thinking it, so technically, I'm trying to even envision how it even unfolds when I do it. Because it's like happens, such second nature. It's such second nature. I just don't even think about it.
Yep.
You know? I can't even like decipher how to explain that. You know, to walk up front, you know, like to do a gallery, you walk up the steps, you walk up front, you turn around, and boom, instantly I have a message for the first person. Like, I don't even look at that person that I'm going to give the message to. I already know exactly what direction I'm going to before I even turn my head. So there's something there, but I don't know what exactly it is. I don't know what process is started when I first do that, but
so it's different levels for different people, just like everything else in life. Different people experience it differently, different people see things differently. That's why this is so fascinating to me. Plus, I can't do it.
You can do it. Oh, we haven't converted you yet. Don't you know that? Yeah, we can convert you. We will.
Kelly and I had a conversation last week, and I'm like, hey, I got to tell you, I have this vision of you with this other thing over and over, and I don't know how to explain it. And she's like, oh my God, I have to tell you something. We're not going to obviously go into details, but like 2 hours later, it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was going to say, don't spill my secrets.
I'm not. But 2 hours later, I was like, wait a minute. If nobody knows, how did I know that?
That was precognition, hon. That's what that was.
That's how it was, honey.
I can also, you know, I can do little tiny things like lucid dream, and my mother is big on. My mother knows things. I don't know how the fuck. There's the first F-bomb. She knows things, but not like you have a teenage kid and you just know things. My mother knows things that nobody should know, and you know. So a little bit here and there. It's still, I'm not psychic or medium. I just sometimes I think we all can just know things if we listen to that gut instinct.
Absolutely.
Everybody has that intuition, though, Shea. I mean, we've talked about this before. Everybody has that intuition. The difference between Luna and I is that we have embraced it and we have practiced with it. It's like any other skill. Nobody sits down at the piano and plays Mozart the first time. You have to sit down and you have to learn it piece by piece. Where do you place your hands? Which key is what note? How do you read the music? Play one hand, play the other hand, put the two hands together. It takes practice. We didn't wake up, well, okay, so maybe we woke up with a little bit of the abilities, but I think that from the sounds of things, Luna and I both got to where we're at because we've practiced with it. But on that note, Luna, when did you first know that you had abilities?
I honestly, if I really think about it, there's like one instance in my house that when I was a kid, the same thing would always happen throughout my childhood. And only now that I'm older do I realize, oh, well, that's what that was. So I would always hear somebody whistling all the time. I'd be in my bedroom scared shitless, and I would hear whistling. When my parents were asleep, my sister was asleep, yet I'm hearing this. And it happened for years. And I never even really put anything together. And one day, I just kind of like stumbled on those memories, and I'm like, oh, so that explains that. That's perfect. But it wasn't, I mean, and then I would have dreams like very, like, perfect example, I'll get a little detailed. I had a dream that I was going to be a type 1 diabetic. Didn't even know what a type 1 diabetic was. knew I was shots, have to stick my finger and everything like that. I had that dream when I was 12, and when I was 14, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So that's, I've had 2 really vivid dreams like that. One came true, and I have another one that I pray will never come true. But, so I discovered that along the way. But other than that, it's just something that I've worked at for so long.
Do you think, I don't know what does Jen call them? Muggles? I'm a muggle. All right, so let's talk to me like I'm a muggle. So, do you think it's divine intervention? Do you think your spirits are telling you this information? Do you think it's a part of your brain that works better or works harder than my brain? Do you think it's that you just know? I mean, it sounds like I'm being facetious and it sounds like I'm being crude, but I'm not. This is serious stuff that I think about. Like, what is so different about your brain than some other people's and either one of you can answer this. Like, do you have access to a certain part of your brain that you just know this information, or is it just that you're connecting to deceased people that are telling you this information? Does that make sense? I don't know how to word it.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. You're looking at the science side of it. I don't know. I would love to be one of those people that they put in those PET scanners.
Yes, I've had
not the
those.
CAT scanner, but they do PET scans, and they can have you do certain things, and then they scan all your wavelengths of your brain, and they can determine what part of your brain is functioning higher than everybody else's.
That's what got me to think of this question, exactly.
Right. Like if they did a huge study, I'm sure they had to have done some sort of study about that, putting psychics in it.
You would think they have. Yeah. Well, and this isn't the same thing as a scan, because that would be super cool. But I was sitting doing an aura photo one time, and so you put your hand on the little device, and it was showing me what my aura was. And we were sitting there just kind of letting it calibrate for a little bit. And this lady that I had read for earlier in the day goes walking by, and she says, I just had a really quick follow-up question. Do you mind? And I said, no. And she asked me, and I answered. And she walks away, and I look back at everybody, and they're staring kind of open-jawed at me. And it's like, what? And they're like, you should have seen what your colors did as soon as you tapped in to answer her question. So then we sat there, and we played with the machine, and we made my aura changed based on the things that I was thinking about, that we were talking about.
I want that machine. I want that machine.
Yes.
Right? So if you can change your aura like that, imagine what your brain must be doing. See, the chemistry, biology side of it, Luna, that fascinates me.
Me too.
Really? Yeah, it's just good. I paid a hell of a lot of money to learn all kinds of stuff, and then now I don't even use it anymore.
Yeah, but you do. You don't use it. Maybe you don't use it at a job, but you still do use it, because I talk to you a lot. Even if it's just in chat, I see the way you think, and you somehow find a way to coincide those two, because let's face it, if there's anything more than right brain, left brain, it's medium and science. It's like, but I love the two interacting. It's like a fascination of mine. It really, really is. I know I don't even make sense, because I don't exactly know what I'm talking about, because again, I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium, but in my brain it makes sense.
I just think it helps us have a healthy balance, because we're going to walk into everything skeptical. We're going to look for logical answers to things and what could potentially be making that happen, but yet the woo-woo side of it is going to make us go, okay, sometimes there isn't an explanation. Sometimes we have to go on faith that it just is.
I agree, definitely.
There must be times when you feel something and you're like, the science brain kicks in, or if you're totally looking something from a science point of view, and then the mediumship, psychic ship, however you want to word it, kicks in. I don't know if I could separate the two. There's got to be a happy marriage of the two at a certain point.
No, not always. And sometimes, I'll give you an example. I won't say where I was or what I did, but so I go to a haunted place, right? Expecting all kinds of stuff to happen, or expecting. I had an open mind knowing that this place was haunted. It's a very well haunted, very well known haunted location, and I go in there expecting, to have some sort of evidence that
you're open to something happening, yeah,
movie feeling or something, and other than going in one spot of this place and feeling like the whole room was spinning, other than that, I honestly got to tell you, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I was like, how can I be in a place that's so insanely haunted and I got nothing? Like, I walked out of there going, I don't know, maybe it was just really hot upstairs and I was just really, that's why I got dizzy. But I got to tell you, if I didn't know the history on the place before I walked in, I would have said, this place is just fine. There's nothing going on here. Then Jen and I had talked about this, and she says, well, maybe your guides were overprotecting you, so to speak.
Maybe.
So it goes so much.
I don't know, though, because, we went to, Waverly Sanitarium, and I had the same thing that you were just talking about, Luna. I was so hyped because everybody talks about how haunted it is and how active, and you can't take a step without running into a spirit, And I walked all over, and it was so quiet. And I remember leaving from there kind of disappointed because there really wasn't much that had happened. I sat and I had a conversation with one lady on, I think, third floor. I can't remember where we were now, but I talked to her, but other than that, it was really pretty quiet. So
yeah, same sort of.
Which is frustrating because you would think with what we can do, you would think that it'd be everywhere. All we'd have to do is say, yes, we want to, and it would happen. But it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Right. And I walked out, yes, the science really did take over, but I got to tell you, and even seeing devices that were being used, like was it an SLS camera, where it does the stick figures?
Yeah.
And the things that I was seeing, and I'm like, nope. It's mapping out a bush. It's mapping out a tree. It's not mapping out a spirit, because I was watching it do it. And so, just the way that I was so hoping for something, because I'm not exposed to anything like that. To be honest, I don't even know if I could walk into a haunted place. Like, say somebody's house is haunted, and I can walk in there, turn around, walk back out, and not even know that a place was haunted. You know what I mean? Sometimes. I have the blinders on a lot of the times, and I don't think I'm even aware that I have them on, as far as the science goes.
I was just going to ask you. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, do you think that that's because you kind of got your guard up sometimes, your natural protection up, and it's just so natural to you that you have to consciously take your guards down to be able to experience things?
Yes. That is what I was wondering, and almost to a point where I want to go back to where I was again and be like, okay, try to make some sort of compromise with my guides or something to say, all right, let's take it down a notch a little. Let me be exposed to something, but at the same time, just because, the fact that I didn't see anything or hear anything, but maybe that, even Jen had said that at one point.
I think we do it out of self-protection, though. We have to figure out early how to... we have to learn early how to put those guards up, and we get so used to having them in place that we just do it without even thinking about it now.
The same as, defense mechanisms for us non-medium, psychic people. We put up walls that they're up for so long, you don't realize that they're up.
Right. Well, Shea, when you go into a location, what kind of protection are you putting upon yourself? What are you doing when you
myself personally
go to a place? Yeah. What do you do to protect yourself spiritually?
Spiritually, for myself, and this has nothing to do with anybody listening, but for myself, I say a prayer. I ask God for protection. but I also put up an invisible bubble, and anything else I need. But it's like, this is how far you can come to me. This is how close. This is what you're allowed to do, whether it's verbal, because I do express it verbally too. This is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're not allowed to do. And then I focus on so much distance around me. This is what you can do, what you can't do. And I just pray God protects me. And there's nothing guaranteeing all of it will work, but I just hope and pray. And so far, it has worked. So, if that makes sense.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, though, Shea, because I use a bubble as well, an invisible bubble.
Yeah,
But,
I can't explain it, but anything but. I physically see, like, the boy in the bubble. Like,
yeah, like a bubble or a hamster ball is the other thing that I'll compare it to.
Yeah. Perfect example.
Yeah, and that's what I started doing when I was a teenager because I had to stop experiencing everybody else's emotions, so I started putting this bubble around me.
Yeah.
And at first I'd experience something and I had to think about putting the bubble up, but then it got to be second nature. And now it's always there and I have to think about taking it down so I can experience something. Do you find that, Luna, where you're out in places they're like, do you feel that energy? And you're like, no. Oh, wait, let me take my bubble down. Oh, yes, I do.
Well, I don't investigate places. I don't do what you guys do. I'm kind of just your run-of-the-mill, Sally Homebody kind of person that just happens to be a psychic. And I work through the church, but I don't usually, I don't go anywhere like on investigations like you guys do.
Yeah, but do you feel it when you go into a Walmart?
Right.
Do I feel like, oh my God, you mean like the empathic type feelings that you get? Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, that's Walmart, that's fun. So, yeah. So,
I feel like you have to put on a hazmat suit to walk into it.
No kidding. Yeah, or like a Hummer. Surround yourself with a Hummer just to get through one of those like SWAT team vehicles.
Yeah, SWAT gear. I love it.
I have to walk away for a minute. I'm gonna let you guys continue. Kelly, sorry, I'll be right back.
No, you're fine.
But empathically, yes. It's funny because I'm in such a mediumistic kind of rut. It's there, it's always there, but I haven't used anything for so long, it feels like that I'm kind of out of practice, almost. Although I know that isn't always the case, because as soon as I start thinking of something, then everything will start popping in my head again.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, maybe I'm on downtime for a reason. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe I'm leveling up or something. But yeah.
Like we were talking about, though, with the, comparing it to playing the piano, this is a skill. It may need brushed up on occasion, but once you learn how to do it, once you make yourself familiar with it, that skill, that knowledge is always there. So you just
like
have
a
to
bicycle.
step back into it.
Just like a bicycle.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not very good at riding the bike anymore, but I still can ride it.
Oh, good Lord, I'd be scared to see me on a bicycle these days. But
oh, my God, my son's like, get off of that thing. You're going to kill yourself.
That's okay. So, psychic medium. So I'm trying to think what other questions to ask here. So when you, do you do readings for people? Is it usually psychic or medium, or is it like a combination of them together?
Well, I tend to focus on mediumistic. Psychic is just, I don't even know how psychic medium got tagged together, because I kind of think that, you can be a psychic and not a medium, but usually if you're a medium, you're kind of a psychic too.
Yep.
So I don't know why that label kind of went on as a psychic medium. I don't know how that ended up ever happening, but no, I do readings for people, not often though. But what I do is on my Facebook page, I just do it for free. If somebody needs something, they can just basically look me up, and I'm more than willing to help somebody.
Well, on that note, how does everybody find you, Miss Luna?
I have a Facebook page. It's called Luna Nocturnum Psychic Medium. It's just a Facebook page, and that's how you can get a hold of me there. Just message me or whatever. But, yeah, so, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where I don't financially, well, everybody needs money, but financially I don't really benefit from it, so I just kind of one of those things where I like to do it, and so if somebody needs help, I always like to help people, so that's what I do. That's my drive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I'm asking this question, and I'll preempt the whole conversation. I am a psychic medium, and I started doing the psychic readings first, and I kept the medium side of things turned off for a long time for my own personal reasons. When you started receiving the messages from people who've passed over, did it scare you?
Oh, hold on. I totally just lost you. Now you're back, though.
What's that?
I totally lost you. I didn't hear a single word you just said.
Sorry. When you started receiving your medium messages from people, did it scare you? Were you uncomfortable with it?
Scared? No, but overwhelmed, yes. Like, I couldn't walk. I'll give you a perfect example. So I had my kids out the one day. No, they're little. Like, my son's probably 2 or 3 and my daughter's 5. They're little. And we had gone to this little restaurant where we always would go and get lunch. And so I was going through the training, and so there's a lot of open windows and stuff going on in my psychic world at the moment, you know. And I sat down, and I'm talking to the kids, playing, we're goofing around, and I turned around, and there's a table of 3 women, older women. You could tell they were all sisters by the way they were talking to each other. Right. And their mother must have just died, because their mother was, like, standing next to me, in my head, of course, screaming, "You tell these girls that they gotta knock this shit off, and this is bullshit, and oh my God." She went ballistic. I'm like, well, that ain't right. Because the first thing that I was always taught was you never, ever, 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 ever go up to somebody and give them a message without asking for their permission.
Of course not. Sorry, I'm back. I said in the chat, but
you're fine.
So, yeah, so that used to happen to me at the beginning all the time. I don't know how I ever remedied that to make it better, because everything just so naturally flowed along that nothing really stood out. But I just remember that instance, and my kids were like, "What's going on there, Mommy?" I'm like, "Not much." So it was busy. It was a busy time in my head back then. That's for sure.
So, what do you guys do as mediums? If a spirit is saying, "Tell this person a message," tell this person a message, how do you? Let's say you approach this person and say, "Hey, this is what I do. This is who I am, and I have this message," and they say no. What do you do next? I mean, how
turn
do you
around and walk away?
But what do you tell the spirit? Like, "I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you gotta balance it, right?
No, I don't think you even really need to tell the spirit sorry, other than, you're just trying to support them and be like, "Dude, I totally understand." Because they already know that if you're trying to get information across to them, then the person doesn't want to receive it. They pretty much already know that anyways. They're doing it out of desperation.
Right. Well, and there was a reason that I asked that question, Luna, because when I first started getting messages from people who'd passed over, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be a medium, because I didn't want to have that, like Shea's saying, where I'm constantly being given messages and I have to decide, do I walk up and pass this message on or do I not, and I wanted to have time to myself, I mean, you see the shows like Teresa Caputo, and don't get me wrong, I think she's fascinating, but I don't want them there constantly. I like my me time.
Yeah, I like my me time too.
So Shea, I mean, to answer the question from my side of things, they have to be ridiculously persistent to get through my bubble, because otherwise they're not allowed to talk to me. And I know that sounds mean, but that's my control system, because I'm a control freak. I mean, we've talked about this a million times. I am a control freak, and I know this.
I'm also a control freak with my environment. and I respect spirits so much. I probably respect spirits more than I respect people, to be honest. But yet, if somebody tries to read me or give me a message that I have not given them permission to do, I am not a happy camper. And I know quite a few mediums, and they know, don't. If I'm not ready, don't. Just, don't.
And I think ethically, a lot of us will be there. I mean, a lot of us would say, well, we're not going to, it's not our place to make that decision. But, Luna, do you find sometimes that regardless of whether you're trying to receive it or not, they're just so persistent, you have to follow through on it?
Boy, I'm trying to think of an example where that's happened. Well, basically, it depends, because sometimes it'll happen. It used to happen a lot more before I was more refined as far as my abilities and being able to control everything around me, as far as my environment in my own head with a spirit door of things, and kind of look at it like it's a garage door, and I leave it open or half open most of the time, but every once in a while I'll shut it or leave it open all the way. But, oh God, where I was going with this. No, I forgot. What were we just talking about? Wow, holy brain fart.
Hey, welcome to my life.
I don't know what we were just talking about.
Just whether you receive messages and pass them on. So are you saying you leave it half open?
Duh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just lost track of that.
Hey, welcome to my life.
Stupid.
Yeah, no, wait, what were we talking about again? No, anyways. So, really, though, I just, my ethics are, I'm so anal with ethics. And I think that if a spirit comes to me, and, say the door is half open and they come on in, but a lot of times I think I have, the bubble around me as well, like the guinea pig ball around me all the time. But sometimes, you can open it up a little bit. So every once in a while a spirit might come in. But if somebody doesn't want to hear what the spirit has to say, you just literally have to turn around and walk away. I mean, there's really nothing else you can do.
Yeah. And I've had conversations with spirits sometimes afterwards. It's just, and I do sometimes say, I'm sorry, but they're not ready to hear this yet. Well, but I want them to know. I understand, but you talk to them like you would anybody else. I understand that, but we can't make them hear something they're not ready to hear. So
right, and that's exactly it.
So if you ever get a message from a spirit and the person that's supposed to receive it is not willing to hear it or accept it yet, does that spirit ever get mad or hurt enough that it affects you? Or do they just hang their head low and walk away?
I think they pretty much already know that.
Yeah, I think the only spirits I've ever really had get mad at me, I mean, it was the one that popped to mind first was, he was mentally unstable to begin with. Right. So, and he was still kind of stuck in that stage. But no, I think you have to remember that when they die, they enter that collective consciousness, and they know so much more than we do at that point. So they probably knew before they ever asked us to pass the message that it wasn't going to work, but they have to ask. It's kind of like when you tell your kids to go out the door, they're going to be safe, but you still say, be safe.
Exactly. We have a question in the chat room, and don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading it. It's from Miss Lovely Jen B. Does either Luna or Kelly feel any messages for anyone tonight? And then she adds, I know it's hard in a group, but I had to ask. Again, don't shoot the messenger. It's, if you don't, you don't.
No, nothing that but I'm not even in that frame of mind to even do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's pretty hard. Sometimes too. Because you almost have to focus in on one person, or if something did come through, we'd have to try to figure out where it goes. And I don't know.
I totally get it because, again, I block myself out from other people. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, this is what I got to do, and I have to block everything else out, and you focus on that one topic at hand.
Right. If I'm, say my task was, I'm not a big multitasker. Yep. I fail at everything if I try to multitask.
Yep.
So if I assign the task to be, okay, well, I'm going to go, say, over here with Shea, and then people are going to ask me questions, and I'm going to answer them from, say, a psychic standpoint or a mediumistic standpoint. I could do it then, but just being in this kind of setting, I just... Yeah, it's just like, that's not my task at hand, so.
I think it's a good question whether you guys can answer or not answer, because it shows the different facets of what you can do or when you're willing to do it. It's kind of like, yes, I can do this, but number one, it's not all the time. Number two, we're not always right. Number three, I'm trying to focus on this one thing, and in order to do this, I have to shut everything else down.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and it is a focus. I mean, it definitely takes. We have to connect our energy to theirs, and when I know it sounds weird, but when I've got a computer buzzing in front of me and a phone buzzing in front of me and earphones in my ears, and not only that, but if I say, I'm going to tap into everybody who's in chat, well, we don't even know who's all in chat lurking. So God knows. I think it's more protection than anything, but it's a little different than standing in front of a room and doing a gallery reading, because you can at least make eye contact with all the people that are there and connect with their energy.
Exactly. Right, because they're there and you can hear their voice, and sometimes, that voice connection is needed,
But obviously, Luna, if you do readings like through Facebook, I mean, you're able to connect with them even if you're not with them, right?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I mean, if the stuff I do online, though, it's funny because I'll keep it down to, let's start with just kind of a question sort of thing. Let's keep it on a psychic level. And I got to tell you, this happens to me more times than not, where I'll get asked a question, and then, it's so funny. I'll tell you a funny story. So I'm in this Facebook group, and it's to practice readings for other people. And so what you do is, I say, all right, Luna's going to work today. So I say, all right. So the only thing I do is if anybody has any questions, they basically anything that you want answered question-wise, pose a question to me, and I'll try and answer it. And
you have to open that part of yourself up, right?
Well, yeah. You got to open some sort of a garage door, or some sort of window, or something in your brain in order for you to even, at least for me, everything is really compartmentalized. Do I know where in my brain it is? No, most of the time, not, unfortunately. But I know when I'm going to do readings. I know that this part of my head has got to be able to answer these questions. Even if it's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, I still need to be able to do that. In order to do that, I have to have that part of my brain functioning, or that task at hand put in place. But so I could go ahead and do messages for these people just on Facebook, but it's funny because I can just do yes or no questions, or add. A lot of times it's much more detailed than that. It's, I'll see somebody say, they'll ask a question about a job, or they'll ask a question about something as simple and as broad as, so changes coming my way, and immediately say I see a pile of books or something like that, and then I'm like, okay, they're talking about school, they're talking about this, they're whatever the symbols are that I'm getting that, that are triggering me to say, okay, well, it's work-related or something. And then next thing you know, Grandma Bess hops in and starts talking away, and I'm like, where did you come from? And how are you related to everything else in this conversation? So here I am thinking I'm having a one-on-one. This is like a perfect example of when the psychic end of it flips over to the mediumship end of it. Well, I'll be answering things psychically because I'm trying to keep myself in practice, not a practice, but in practice. And then all of a sudden I'll be talking to somebody, messaging back and forth, and then boom, somebody pops in from their spirit side, somebody who had passed away, and then right away, then things ensue from there. But yeah, so I can connect with them just over the internet, believe it or not. I don't know how it works as easily as it does, but it does.
I get that question a lot. Can you do it? Yeah.
But this is why I love having both of you on, because you're two different people, kind of the same situation, but not really. So I'm the third, I'm on the outside here, but I always use Muggle now because of Jen. She's a Harry Potter fan. Everybody knows it. But so it's kind of like when you sit down to take a test, you focus on not only that whole test, but each individual question. Like you open yourself up one step at a time.
Not necessarily, but that tends to be how it works for me now. Just if somebody asks a question and I can answer it for them, and then from there it'll snowball. It'll start changing, and then it'll start, it's never small. It never is like, oh, okay, well, here's a little thing about work. Yeah, let's just address this little thing about work. And then all of a sudden the whole family steps in. Oh, Aunt Gertie says hi, and your grandmother says hello, and
all right.
Next thing you know.
Here's a question for both of you. Sorry, did I cut you off, Kel?
You're fine.
Here's a question for both of you. How do you, it's a kind of three-part. I know Kelly investigates, and Luna's been on location anyways. I've heard her say she investigates, and I've heard her say she doesn't. So here's a three-part question. How do you know the difference between the information you're getting psychically, the information you're getting through mediumship, meaning for those out there listening, how do you get the difference between the information you're getting, just the information, so you're just getting it psychically, you just know, and then the mediumship, meaning spirit or spirits, is telling you something, and how do you know the information is coming from an investigation, say like disembodied voices? How do you tell the difference between the three, or is it something you figure out over time? I know it's a deep question. It's three parts and it's like 60 all in one, but this is like the basics.
I was waiting for Luna to answer.
So. No, I actually was just thinking about it. I'm like, Cal, step on up, because I don't know exactly how to answer that.
For me, it feels different. It does. So for me, when it's a psychic message or an impression that I'm getting from the location, it vibrates different than if I'm getting a message from a spirit. And the best way that I can describe it is like everybody, every living thing, whether it's a person, an animal, a tree, whatever the case may be, it's all got their own energy ball, is the best way to describe it. And so when you walk up to one person, Shea, you might feel their energy, but you walk up to somebody else and their energy feels different.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel yeah.
So that's kind of how it feels for me. When I'm getting just a psychic message and I'm just knowing something in my head, it feels a certain way, and it always has kind of the same rhythm and cadence to it. But when I'm getting a message from a spirit, it vibrates different. I don't know how to explain it like that. I mean, there's sometimes even that. Perfect. There's sometimes even that, like, if it's a guy that's talking to me and he's got one of those really low, rumbly voices that when they're talking, it kind of makes your belly go hee. I can feel that because I can feel the lowness of their voice. But it's a feeling.
Side, though, right? Feeling. Or is it both? That's what I have no idea on this stuff.
That might be a combination of the two. Okay. That might be a combination of the two, where it's like I'm getting it from the spirit, but psychically I'm being given more information than just what he's saying, if that makes any sense at all.
I'm going to put Luna on pause for a second because Kelly answered first. So, Kelly, if you are getting a message or hearing, let's focus on audible messages. How do you know if obviously if you can hear it, it's not quite psychic, because psychic is just knowing it. So if you hear something, is it a different frequency, whether it's a medium sending the message to your brain, if that's how it does it, or if it's a disembodied voice? Like, is it different? If
it's truly a disembodied voice that I hear with my ears, that's something entirely different. Because if I can hear it with my ears, you should be able to hear it with your ears. Joe Bob the Muggle should be able to hear it with his ears, you know.
Did it take you time to learn the difference, or is it just like no brainer? It's different.
No, it took paying attention. It took stopping and paying attention and thinking, how did that message just come to me? Does it make sense that it just come to me? Using that logical side of our brain to say, is this a thought that just popped into my head? And this kind of takes us back to where Luna and I started. Is that a thought that just popped into my head, or is this a message that was given to me? Is that a fair way to say that, Luna?
That's a perfect way to say it. That sums it up perfectly.
Awesome.
And for me, I mean, did you find yourself doing that a lot when all this first started with you, where you'd have to stop and literally think, am I crazy? Am I making this stuff up in my head? Or is there really something to this?
Yes. That's exactly how it started for me. And I mean, like I said, the bullshit meter was going too. How do I know? In my own head, I'm like having my own bullshit meter going for my own self. I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, I'm like, all right, I know I'm nutty to begin with, but this is a little bit much. This is a bit much right here. We've got a lot of stuff going on here that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and even now, I will be talking so fast and repeating things so fast, my brain, my little logical brain is going, you're just making shit up, you know?
But isn't it awful? You just want to beat that part of your brain to like a bloody pulp. You're like, stop it, just don't me. You're terrible. Like, cut it out.
Yeah, and you do. You want to go back and say, shut up, stop doing that to me, because they're like, no, you described the location exactly and the person exactly, and that's exactly how they would have said it. And there's no way that you could have known that X happened on this day. And, you know, it's like that little voice, Megan, in the back of your head is, I think it's what keeps us real, though, Luna, don't you? I mean,
yes.
If we ever didn't have that little bit of, am I sure I'm doing this right, we'd be scary.
Well, yeah, I think that sums it up. A lot of times it's like people who don't hold their, I don't know. See, this is the whole thing when it comes to ego. I get a little, I don't understand fully about ego. I mean, you could be a normal coexisting human being with people and not be an asshole and still have ego, which I don't quite understand, but I guess maybe not egotistically. But yeah, I just think that the way that things come through with them is so funny, in that you have to keep that sense of self about you, and you have to keep that centered, because if you're not putting yourself in check, then God only knows what. I mean, dude, I'm not thinking gloom and doom or anything, but I can't even imagine what it would be like. I can't imagine myself ever questioning myself.
See, and actually, I have thought about that. If I ever got too cocky, I think they would start making a fool out of me, you know? If I'm like, I can guarantee I can blah, 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 they would start feeding me bullshit just to make me look like a fool.
Yeah, true. Like, your guys would be like, oh, yeah, well, get a load of this. You're going to like this one. Yeah, and next thing you know, they're giving you false information, and you're sitting there going, why am I doing this? But I don't even get to that point where I'm not a cocky person, so no. I just don't. It's just so funny, you know. I just can't. I doubt this whole thing way too much, self-doubt with it, and that's like a double-edged sword, because that doubt can really get you into trouble when you're a psychic or a medium. When you're constantly doubting yourself, that works against your advantage too, where you end up.
Well, because do you find yourself second guessing yourself, and so you won't say something, and then finally you're like, okay, fine.
Yep.
You finally say it, and they're like, oh my God, yes. It's like, oh,
yeah, and their jaws drop, and their face goes white, and you're like, oh my God, yep, that's what I was sitting on. Yep,
well,
that's it.
and sometimes they're crazy. Like, I remember one time I was doing a reading for someone. I don't remember exactly it, but I was talking to her or him or her about a career change. And I'm like, we're talking like a drastic career change. Like, you're going to stop being a lawyer and go be a firefighter or something crazy like that, you know? And we got to the end of the reading, and they're like validating some stuff for me. They're like, and so, yeah, I'm a lawyer and I'm going to go be a firefighter. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
That is hysterical.
So, it's craziness. Yeah.
I would love that.
I think I asked last week, or the week before, I'm not sure, because last couple of weeks with Skype has been a pain in the ass. But so every time you kind of, I don't want to say right, but I don't know how else to word it, but every time you're like, okay, I did it. Or every time you're like self-doubting and then you are like, wait a minute, I was right. Does it build your confidence and make your gift that much stronger?
Yes. For me, it does anyways.
Yeah, I think everybody has that, though, you know. And when I teach intuition classes, and that's part of what I tell everybody is give that validation back, because that's what makes you start to trust yourself. And,
exactly.
You know, as much as I was just saying for Luna and I, we have to keep ourselves in check and not get too cocky about it, but we have to have a certain level of belief in ourselves, because we're out. Sometimes people are asking us about some pretty serious stuff, you know, or they want to connect with their loved ones who maybe killed themselves, and that's a pretty touchy topic. You know, we need to have some level of confidence that we're not crazy. Yeah. At least for me. I shouldn't speak for Luna.
No. You're right on the money.
Yep. Sounds just like something Luna would say. That's why I'm saying yes. I'm not Luna, but I was agreeing with Kelly. Like, no. Can't speak for her, but it does sound like
I swear to God. It's like two different mouths for one brain. It's so funny between Kelly and I. We think of the same exact stuff. I went to go say the word ethics, and it came out of her mouth first.
I messaged you, Luna, and I was like, hey, by the way, Kelly's going to be co-hosting. Yay! Because I knew, you know, you're different.
Well, I like her. I just didn't realize how fairly similar we are.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, too, because I just stumbled on the fact that Kelly is going to be in my town in February.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, and
why?
I didn't realize you lived right there.
Yes.
I get to meet you, yes.
For the Statler?
Yeah.
The Statler? I live in Buffalo.
I have to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I knew about that. Sorry. I'm like, I forgot where she lived for a second.
Yeah.
I forgot Luna's in my neck of the woods. That's why we get along so well. That's right.
Well, I have to meet you when I come out then.
Definitely. As long as, if you get free time and I get free time, definitely. I know I told Jen about it. I'm like, oh my God, Kelly's going to be here. And she was laughing. She says, well, are you going to go to the event? And I'm like, well, it's a psychic fair, so no, probably not, but I'll go see Kelly.
but it's, is that June? July?
No, it's February, isn't it?
February 17th, and it's, I don't know that he's the sole person in charge of it, but Dan Class has got something to do with that, and he invited me out.
I'm sorry, I share so many of stuff, I forget dates.
No, that's fine, I've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
No, June is Gettysburg.
Okay, sorry. Oh, man.
Gettysburg is fun.
Yeah.
Gettysburg is
I went to Gettysburg with my son. We went there for a class trip, and we did a ghost tour and everything. It was great. It was so much fun. There's so much history there. It's like such an amazing place.
I ended up there kind of by accident. I had gone on business travel, and I was looking around to see what was close that I could go do, and I figured out I was like an hour from Gettysburg, so tacked on a couple days to my business trip.
Nice.
Wow. Buffalo, I think, Kelly told me Buffalo is like only 7 hours from me, where the Hinsdale house is like 8 hours from me. So, Luna, you and I might be meeting a lot sooner than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go to Hinsdale,
let me know. Get together and road trip. We should, converge.
I'm trying.
There we
Yeah,
go.
let's work it out so we're all in the same area at once.
Yeah, if you seriously, you guys go to Hinsdale. You hit me up. I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
I'll meet you along the way or something.
Have coffee at least. Who can, haunted house would be awesome, but at least coffee, man.
But if you're coming in that direction, yeah, Hinsdale is about an hour and a half from here.
Yeah, that's
You guys come
I'll be heading to Hinsdale later in the spring as well, but I've got to talk to Mr. Class and see what the plans are and see what I'd have for free time. But yeah, I'll be at the psychic there in February and back out to Hinsdale a little bit after that as well.
Nice.
So yeah,
we have to get together. Go get a drink or something.
Hell yeah.
A few.
One per every 10 minutes.
Yeah,
there
of
you
course. As long as you have a Pepsi or a Coke in your hand, the shots every 10 minutes, we're good to go.
That works for me.
Sorry. All right. Yeah, Kelly's like, yeah, it's a business trip. Nope.
Why am I too hungover to get messages today? What's wrong with me? Stupid Luna.
Oh, you guys are funny.
Yeah, we know.
No, we'll have to arrange. If I'm out that way.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm just trying to catch up in chat now. I'm way behind, though, so. Mama.
I know, I stepped away
Pat,
for a second, too.
Huh?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, what did you say? I'll read.
I said I stepped away from the computer, too, so I was trying to catch up on chat as well.
Mama Pat says, does it surprise you that many psychics describe their experiences so similarly? I can't even talk.
I don't know that everybody does, but it is interesting that a lot of people will say this is the way that it works for me, but I guess I'm a little amused that Linda and I are so very much alike. She's got the science brain and I've got the math brain, so.
Oh, same thing.
Yeah. I have no brain, so I'm the third man out.
Oh, you lie.
Sorry. I find mediums true, like you two. True mediums, true psychics, so fascinating, especially when they investigate on top of it. I mean, they're fascinating one way, but I don't see how they can coincide the two halves of the brain. It's going to be such a struggle. So I ask the same questions of every medium over and over again, because 7 out of 10 times you get a different answer.
Yeah, and I don't know that I don't know. I guess it's just always kind of been my nature. So when I go out to do the paranormal investigating, yeah, I'm using my abilities too, but I'm going to try to back it up with the science. I'm going to make sure that I'm debunking things, that there's really something to what I'm experiencing. So, but I think regardless of whether you're using electronic tools or yourself as the tool, you should be doing that.
Yeah. Luna?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I'm just listening. I just think that, I think that it's all, everything works together with, the evidence that you gain from the devices and from all the evidence things that you're taking, as well as being a medium, everything internally that you have going on, all of it does kind of wrap around together, and it's nice to have the science to keep everything in check.
Do you guys
get out of control fast? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you could just see, at one place, if somebody hears a knock, and it just happens to be that I tap my foot at that second, but somebody thought it was a spirit knock, then, oh my God, next thing you know, something else gets out of control, and more things. Everybody just assumes it's all spiritually related when 90% isn't.
True. See? Exactly.
Yeah. You can't assume that everything is something, and yet you can't assume that there's nothing unless it's proven on a tool,
That's
True.
that's what I was going to ask. Do you guys feel like you have to prove your ability? Do you have to prove yourselves? Do you have to prove that it's the spirit in the moment? Or are you just like, hey, this is what I feel, and fuck it if you don't, agree?
No, that's exactly it. You know what? I just trust what I get, and that's how it is, and I don't need to test it. I don't, I've been given it. It's kind of a gift. So, that I worked so long to practice that, yeah, I mean, it's a gift to be given, but I mean just in general together. I just think that, it all just works itself out perfectly.
This is what it is, and take it for however you take it, but I know my truth kind of deal. Like, you don't try to, I don't know. Because, as paranormal investigators, we try to prove things. Prove things. But you can't prove a feeling.
There is no proof. There's no way to prove. But there's no way to prove that it's a ghost either. Just because you get a message through a talking box doesn't mean that it's proof that it's a spirit communicating with you. I mean, I would love to think that someday we'll get there. But how many years have people, and I'm not saying this to be offensive to anybody, so please don't anybody be offended, but how many years have people believed in God, and where's the proof? How many years have people believed in ghosts, and where's the proof? How many, I mean, and yet you can't see radio waves either, but it's real.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody that's listening knows me enough to know that, and Kelly and Luna included. I don't believe in the word evidence when it comes to paranormal investigating. It's all data. We're collecting all the stuff. There's no proof in any of this. So they don't take offense to when I say, how do you prove it? How do you don't? They know where I'm coming from. So before you guys send me those hate emails, know that both these girls love me.
And
of course we do.
Yeah. I don't believe in evidence.
Hand in hand.
Yeah.
But using the two things together is going to be as close as we can get to proof,
Exactly.
Being able to use the psychic side, the medium side of things, and backed up by that scientific tool, that's going to be the best evidence that we can get. If Luna and I can go into a place and say, okay, the spirit is telling me that they died in 1872, and then SB7 says 1872.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, then you have to start going, well, that's interesting, isn't it? But still, it's not proof.
We'll get there. Like you said, we'll get there one day.
Yeah, eventually. We just need another mind like Tesla or somebody smarter than me. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, somebody hell of a lot smarter than me. That's all I know.
In the meantime, I'm going to stick over here in my little woo-woo world and have to go.
I like my woo-woo world.
People get mad at me when I say there's no such thing as evidence, there's no such thing as that. So I just like to clarify that I'm not giving you girls a hard time, because both of you have known me long enough to know that I'm asking for a reason. I just want to see your point of view, and same with ghost hunting, paranormal investigating.
I think your questions are respectful, and as long as the questions are done respectfully, there's no harm done asking questions.
I don't believe in evidence in this field. You can't prove to me how it got there. Then here we are, Woo-woo. Jen's just saying woo-woo. And
it's
true
going into Kelly's Wikipedia. It's like, oh gosh, what did Dan say it was? Pat, what did Dan call it? I can't remember the name of my book. I'm making it a book of terms. Because I make up words for things.
Oh, I make up all kinds of things.
I can't take credit for woo-woo. That came from one of our vendors from our expos, but I have totally adopted it because I love it.
Woo-woo. Isn't that a drink? That's a shot here.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Interesting.
Does that mean that when we go out drinking, we can walk up to the bar and say, give me some woo-woo?
Yeah, it's like, it has hot damn in it. That I know. It has other stuff in it, but it has hot damn, and it's kind of that fire.
Well,
Wait a
there
minute.
you go.
Pat Kraft says, is it Woo-Woopedia?
I can't remember. I'd have to ask Dan.
Woo-Woopedia.
They were giving me crap at the last expo.
I like that one.
It was something pedia. I remember that part.
Woo-Woopedia. I like that. All right. So before we get going, let's ask in chat if anybody else has any more questions. Believe it or not, we've been on air for an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. That went fast.
This flew by. Like, we should do this, the three of us, more often, because this really feels like 15 minutes. It was really quick, and I learned a lot, and I have so many more questions that we wouldn't even have time if we were on air for like 6 hours.
That sounds like we have to have her back then.
Yes.
Definitely.
And Jen says, I'll give you some woo-woo, baby.
I bet you will.
Leave it to Jen, huh? Miss Kelly McCarville will be on The Skeptic and the Psychic December 30th, I believe. Let me look at the calendar.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, I think it's the 30th. And, of course, Luna's welcome on anytime she wants, as long as she deals with me, which she did good tonight.
Oh, I love you, Shea.
I've never had somebody tell me off on air yet. I'm working on it.
I have to say, ladies, we behaved fairly well. I just want to say, which proves
it
proves once again, it's all Jen's fault.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know. Last week was pretty bad. Last week was insane. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, which show?
We had the Gypsies last week, though, so they're hilarious.
Oh my God, the Gypsies! Oh, I love them.
Hysterical.
I said thank you on Sunday. The Gypsies. Not only was there one on one part of the show, and then the other two on the other part of the show, but the two that were on the second part of the show were on for an hour, but we're sitting in the truck for the 2 whole hours, and still agreed. I'm like, we don't. I didn't even know they were still waiting to come back. I felt so bad. And they were so gracious, and they were so funny and so awesome. They were in that truck for over 2 hours talking. I didn't know it because I couldn't hear them half the time, but yeah.
Hey, we had a good time.
We did, and they stuck around, and they were awesome and funny as hell. Yeah, if you type too much, I've heard speaker disappears there.
It did it again.
Yep. So, Kelly, you wanna do some shout outs? You wanna go through and see say thank you to everybody in chat? Or you want me to?
I got it. All right, so we have Miss Kim and Jen B and Wolf, and I've heard you say your name and I'm gonna say it wrong. Ailita?
Yep, you said it. She's on next week. Alita's on next week.
Sorry, hon. I will learn how to say it right before next week.
No, you said it. You said
it. Miss Sue from Short Bus Paranormal.
Love you, Sue.
And that crazy Shea gal.
She's a bitch.
Yeah, I heard that. But
yeah.
Did I already say Jen B speaking? Oh, no, I'm kidding, Jen. I love you.
Mama Pat.
Yes, we've got Mama Pat and Miss Luna, of course. Continue scrolling up through here.
It's hard to
Mallory
scroll. Sorry,
for a little bit.
No,
you're fine. I started at the bottom here. I'm sure. We had Mallory for a little while.
Mallory is my stepdaughter. Believe it or not, the poor girl. While she's scrolling, we also have Matt, who did not chat, but I knew he was here. We also have my sister Nicole, who is here, and she's still scrolling, so I'm just talking, but Matt, the co-owner, is here. He just couldn't chat because he's driving right now.
I think I got everybody, but if I missed anybody, I'm really sorry.
It's hard. No, don't. I do it.
It is. There was a lot of chat.
Yeah, and then you're like, they don't understand. You can't always scroll way back, so if they haven't said something, you might miss it. And we get like over 300 messages in a chat sometimes, so it's hard to scroll back. But in anybody that's not in chat, we always appreciate you listening, whether it's live or later on.
Absolutely.
I don't know how anybody deals with me every week, but somehow people do deal with me every week, and I think it's a guess.
It's not us, it's technology. Technology is the issue. If we could just get rid of that, we'd be perfect, right?
Oh, I know, right? Every time I think, I'm like, I have Spreaker down, I'm good to go. Within a couple weeks of me thinking I'm good to go, technology kicks my ass, man. So I'm like trying not to get too high and mighty.
We'll have to find a time midweek, Shea, to try to make sure we can get this working again before next Friday night, so we don't have issues, and I won't make you late again next Friday.
Oh, it wasn't you. It's Skype. Like, not last week, but the week before, Alita was on. I couldn't get the camera to work on my end. So with all these updates to Skype, whatever this new U camera is, I don't know if you guys get it, but when you open up Skype, instead of the normal Skype thing, all of a sudden there's some blue screen that says U camera or something camera. Well, you suck. That's all I got to say. Because it doesn't work.
Yeah, my Skype is hating on me tonight. So
yeah. So
I'll have to figure it out.
We will. Okay, so Luna, why don't you give a shout out to your page and anywhere if you're going to be anywhere, but at least tell us where we can find your social media.
You can find me on Facebook. It's Luna Nocturnum, Psychic Medium. I can be reached there. And that's it.
And I have shared it. I have shared it to. Hey, that's enough. I've shared it to Paranormal Buzz Facebook, and I will share it again tonight as soon as we hang up, as I do with all our guests. But I'll give an extra heart just because it's not. I always say Luna Nocturnal, and it's not. What is it, Luna? What is it? Because I know your real name.
Nocturnum.
Nocturnum. Okay, yeah. I know what it is when I type it, but to say it out loud. But I will share that. Kelly, why don't you give us some shout outs? Your social media, where you're going to be, anything you want anybody to know?
I'm Kelly McCarville, Mystical Moon Spinner. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Instagram and Twitter, I think, is Moonspinner76, though.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm going to be on the show with Miss Shea for the rest of the month. I'm excited about that. And like she said, I'll be on the Skeptic and the Psychic on December 30th. So you guys can't get rid of me. You're stuck with me.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to bring you back like once a month or something, Kel, because you, Jen, and Luna are my three favorite psychos. No, seriously.
We got to have one show with all of us on the line, though, right? Because we almost got something done tonight.
Hey, yeah, we could do that sometime. I would love to do that. My Matt makes jokes of me and Jen. He takes turns saying the skeptic and the psycho and the skeptic, and he goes back and forth depending on the day. So that's where I got that from. So Jen, blame Matt, not me.
It's all right. We all have to be a little unbalanced to have fun.
That's why Jen and I get along though. We do take
right.
turns. We should start making a schedule. This day is my day to break down. This is your day. This is your day to be fun. This is my day. And, everything balances out.
We're only allowed one day? Damn, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I'm in big trouble then.
If we have more people, if we add more people in the circle, then it can be more days. That's my hope. Pi Psychic. Is that how Benji says it? I think she's trying to spell it out.
I think it says Psychic.
Yeah, Psychic. That's how he says it, yes. Jen knows I love her. She knows that. So if I make fun of you, it means I love you guys. So, all right, guys, hold. That's my way of showing affection. I grew up wrong. I have no other way. Jen says no more group chats. Don't break my heart, man. She's threatening me. No more group chats. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, guys. You two hold on 1 second here.
Okay.
Next week we have Alita on Kinley. She's an author. Last week we talked about her book on Melbourne Manor, I believe it was called Paying the Piper. If it's not correct, she will correct me. She's also the author of Haunted Nebraska, I believe it is. If I'm not correct, she will correct me in the chat. And look on Paranormal Buzz. I should have known it before I announced it, but you know, it's me. It's Shea. What can you say? Good night, guys. See you guys Sunday for the Skeptic and the Psychic. See you guys next Friday.
For more information regarding what Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram.